Everybody wastes time, and in the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to teach you how to stop wasting yours. I used to waste my time really badly. It just comes down to not actually being aware of how you're spending your time. Everyone has a routine. Most people just don't realize what their routine is. The first step to stop wasting your time is to identify where you are wasting your time. That's the first step, is identification. Now, there's a few things we need to run through before you can actually really understand exactly how you are wasting your time. I'm going to go through those now. The first step is identifying what kind of days you have. What do I mean? There's 7 days in a week. You get weekends, you get a weekday. Well, it depends on your life. Me, for example, I've got two kinds of days. I've got working days and I've got my days off. I work a 9 to 5, I'm a car salesman. So I've got structured days most of the time. I've got 2 days with no structure. Now, also, a little bit of a pro tip, you need structure. In order to stop wasting time, you need structure. So, how do you identify your days? Well, for example, let's say you're a student and you play a sport and you've got a part-time job. So there's 3 working parts there. The first thing you're gonna do, when am I at school? I'm at school 5 days a week. Okay, so I've got at least 2 different kinds of days. You've got weekends where you're not at school and weekdays where you are at school. So you've got school days, non-school days. Okay, but then I also work a part-time job on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so now you've got 3 working parts. You've got school days, non-school days, and school days with your job, working days as well. So you've got 3 kinds of days. Let's say you play a sport on top of that. You play sport, you train on Monday, you train on Wednesday, and you play on Friday. Now, you've got school days, non-school days, working school days, and then you've also got sports and school days. So you've got 4 kinds of days. Now I'm going to display this here so it's a little bit easier to digest. So you've got 4 kinds of days in this instance. Now most people aren't going to have 4 kinds of days. Most people watching this video are going to have 2 kinds of days, at most 3 kinds of days. Let's say you work 2 jobs, so you've got 2 days already because you've got job A and job B, and then you've got your 3 days. Okay, so most people are going to have 2 or 3. In my instance, I've got 2. In this instance, on the extreme side, you've got 4. So you've got your free days, your school days. The days are generally categorized by the 1 key event that you're going to do, or 2 in some instances, like these ones with your school and work days, and then your school and sport days. You need to identify what kinds of days you do, because on every single one of these sets of days, your routine is going to look essentially the same. For example, every time you've got a free day, you're probably going to sleep in a little bit longer. You're probably going to go a little bit slower about your day. Maybe you have to clean, maybe you have to go shopping, but you've not really got too much. Nonetheless, your routine is still going to look very much the same. On your school days, it's a lot more structured. Your routine on a school day is going to look different to your routine on a school and sport day. It's going to look different to a school and work day, but you've got a routine nonetheless that is on every single school day. For example, you're going to get up at this time, you're going to eat breakfast, you're going to shower, you're going to take a shit, you're going to do these things. And then you're going to go to school, and then you're going to get home, unpack, etc. That's your routine, and you've got one. That's what you need to understand. You have a routine, even if you don't think you do. And then on school and work days, it's the same thing that applies. You're going to pack differently because you've got to take the bus to work after school, etc. Okay, I hope that makes sense. The next thing you need to identify are your phases within each of those days. Now, really, most people are just going to have morning, afternoon, and night. That's mine. They're my phases. They're very simple, very easily digestible. But let's go back to the extreme example, right? Let's go back to the school, work, sport, and free time. The phases in each of those days, you're probably going to have still 3 to 4. Generally, if you've got 2 key events, for example, school and work, you're going to have 4, because you're going to go morning, middle of or start of afternoon, late afternoon, and then night. Because you've got your morning routine, then school time, and then work time, and then your nighttime routine. So I suppose a phase is also a way to say routine, but you haven't identified your routine yet. So phase is definitely an easier way to put it. So for most people, it's just going to look like morning, afternoon, night, and then someone who's a little bit busier, they've got 2 time-consuming events throughout their day. It's going to be morning, school, work, night. 4 phases. Most people it's going to be 3. Some people it's going to be 4. And on some days you might have 4. Some days you might have 3. The way to kind of categorize a phase, it's generally going to be a period of time that you're working towards one specific goal. Now, goal is maybe an extreme way to put it, but for example, in the morning, you're preparing yourself to go to school. Really, that's what the morning is. You're waking up, you're freshening up, you're getting ready, you're eating food, so you're full of the time you get to school, you're not hungry. You're preparing yourself for the next phase, right? Then the school phase, you're at school. Your goal is to be at school. And once you're done school, you go to work. And once you're there, your goal is to be at work. And then once you've done that, it's nighttime, where you're then preparing back for the morning. You're having your dinner, you're getting unready, you're getting ready to go to bed. You set yourself up for the next day. That's generally how you identify phases. How it's a time period where you're leading up to one specific thing, generally the next phase, or just a general goal before the next phase. The next thing to identify, necessary events. These are things that you must do throughout each phase of your day. Now I'm going to use myself as an example for this one. I've got something that I do every morning, I've got something I do every afternoon, and I've got something I do every night, depending on what set of days. So obviously you've got 2 sets of days, so that means you've got 2 sets of phases, and in each of those 2 sets of phases or 2 sets of days, or however many you've identified in your life, you're going to have necessary events for each one of those phases, for each one of those sets of days. This is an example of my personal necessary events for both my working days and my free days. Now, my phases for each of those days are pretty much the exact same. The way that I've categorized my life is in the morning, my goal is to set myself up for the gym. Once I've done the gym, I go home, have breakfast, I go to work. But in the morning, it's centered around getting to the gym and having a good time at the gym. Same on my free days. In my afternoon, on a working day, my whole entire afternoon is taken up by work. On my free days, my afternoon starts after breakfast and it ends once I've completed all of my tasks for the day. For example, today I'm recording this YouTube video. Today I have to make TikToks, a YouTube video, I have to sort out my passport, I have to go to my doctor's appointment, I have to go shopping, I have to clean. I've got quite a few things to do today before I can say I've completed my tasks. I'm now in my free time. And then finally, nighttime, dessert and dessert. You're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Why is your nighttime goal dessert? Well, because mentally I've set it up. I love dessert. And to get to dessert, there are a few things that I have to do to say, okay, I can have it. One of those things is eat dinner. I'm not a big eater. I don't really love to eat. I have to have dinner to have dessert. That's a rule I've made for myself. So my goal is to do those little necessary evils, in my opinion, so I can get to dessert, and that's my nighttime goal. The next thing you must do, this is arguably the most important, list your routine. For each one of your phases, on each one of your days, list your routine. Now, like I said earlier in the video, you might not realize you have a routine, but you have a routine. There are things you do on each of your sets of days that are the exact same every single time. So list out those things and don't skip anything. Even if you think it's irrelevant, it's something that you're doing and it's taking up your time. This is something like what yours should look like. This is my personal morning routine. Have your activity, when you start and when you finish. I'm going to run through mine. I wake up at about 4:30. I then take my supplements from about 4:30 to 4:40. I'm then on the toilet from 4:40 to 5:50. I'm then in the shower from 5:50 to 6. I get ready for the gym from 6 to 6:15. I leave for the gym at 6:15 until I get there at about 6:25. I'm at the gym from 6:25 to 7:15. Leave for home 7:25. Prepare breakfast, 7:25 to 7:35, eat breakfast, another 20 minutes, clean dishes, another 10 minutes, get ready at about 8:05 until 8:15, and then I leave for work at about 8:15, arrive at about 8:25. That is what yours should essentially look like. A load of activities, and don't skimp out on listing them. Now that you've got this all listed out, you need to identify microphases. What are microphases? Well, they're just phases, but smaller. It's the same thing. The way that you identify a phase is a group of tasks centered around one goal. Now, within those phases are microphases, generally speaking, because you've got your large ones, and then I'll run you through some of my morning ones. For example, from waking up all the way until I leave for the gym from 4:30 to 6:25, that's a microphase. In that time, I'm essentially preparing for the gym. And then from the gym until I leave from the gym, that's a microphase as well. So if I kind of go jump, but then like this is kind of in there as well. So if I do that, I hope that makes sense. That is my first microphase, and that is going to take me, 1 hour 55 minutes, for example. So phase 1 or phase gym, I could put anything. Phase 1, it's about 1:55 55 hours, right? And then phase 2, in this time here, it's about an hour, really. I mean, 6:25 to 7:15, and then leave for home at 7:15 to 7:25. It's about 1 hour total, so 1 hour. And then my final one is essentially leaving for work, preparing for the next phase, the end of the phase, preparing for the next phase. It's going to take me from 7:35 until 8:25, so 50 minutes. So once you've listed your routine, you can identify your micro phases, work out how long each of those things take. Once you've done that, this is where the work begins. Within each of your micro phases, you need to identify where you're wasting your time and where you can double up. This is the most important thing. For me, for example, this is tripled, quadrupled, 5x, whatever the I don't know. Anyway, it's 10x. It has 10x my productivity because I identified where I was wasting my time and where I could double up on my activities, where I was doing one thing, but I could supplement in some kind of learning, something that would be productive for me. So I'm going to give you an example. Now, the big glaring thing, my phase 1 in my morning takes 1 hour, 55 minutes. And in that, I wake up at 4:30. It takes me 10 minutes to do my supplements. It takes me 10 minutes to shower. And it takes me 15 minutes to get ready for the gym. It takes me 10 minutes to get to the gym. Well, that doesn't equal 1 hour 55. The reason that is so long is because I'm on the toilet for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Now, that's not 100% accurate. Sometimes it's more. No, sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. Nonetheless, I've got a bit of an issue. I don't know what it is. That doesn't really matter. What matters is identifying where I'm wasting my time, because in this 10 minutes, I've just woken up. I can't really do too much. I generally check my notifications. It's probably not the best thing in the world to do, but with social media being something I'm pursuing, I don't think it's the end of the world for me. I'm not scrolling, I'm just checking. So I can't really do anything else there while I'm stirring my supplements and just checking my notifications. When I'm in the shower, I'm in the shower. I can listen to stuff while I'm in the shower. I can't take notes or anything, but I can listen. So that's what I've started doing. Podcasts, audiobooks in the shower. When I'm getting ready for the gym, same thing. Normally I'm running around a little bit, so I generally don't, because I don't like to have headphones in too much, and I don't want to cart my phone around just blasting something when I can't really understand what's going on. So that 15 minutes, I could. It's probably not the best use of my time though, because it's wasted information in my opinion. If I'm not digesting it, it's wasted information. On the way to the gym, I've got 10 minutes where I'm in the car. I've got no choice but to listen to something, or I can just sit there in my own thoughts, which is fine as well. But I like to learn in that time. It's 10 minutes more than other people are doing. Put it that way. 10 minutes more than I was doing yesterday. 10 minutes more than I was doing a year ago. And 10 minutes adds up. 10 times 365. If you only do 10 minutes of learning every single day for a year, that's 3,650 minutes of learning. That's pretty good. That's a good amount of hours. So then I've got the toilet, which is taking me an hour and 10 minutes. I can't just waste an hour and 10 minutes just dropping a big one. So what I've started to do to increase my productivity, to save time elsewhere, is whilst I'm there, I'm listening to audiobooks and I'm taking notes. I'm writing things down that I can make a TikTok about. I'm planning my YouTube videos. I'm planning my days. I'm reviewing what I did in the last week. That is probably my most productive time of the day. Believe me, I don't want to be there for an hour and 10 minutes. I don't really have a choice. If I could, I would do it at my desk. Not the part that I actually do on here, but the productivity stuff. But I can't, so I must do it here. But it's the fact that I've identified it and I can actually do it because I'm aware of how much time I'm wasting otherwise. Now, I hope that makes sense. That's what I call doubling up. Doubling up on your activity so that you can be more productive. When I'm at the gym, I can listen to podcasts, etc. But once again, to me, it's a waste of information because I don't absorb it while I'm busy in the physical world. I'm pumping iron, getting massive. So I'm pretty unbothered by that. When I'm in the car though, that's when I can learn. Preparing breakfast, eating breakfast, cleaning dishes, getting ready, leaving for work. There's not too much more I can do in that time. I can watch a YouTube video while I eat. But besides that, to summarize, you need to identify your days, identify your phases, and identify your necessary events. Now, Your days are generally summarized by a key event that you have to do throughout the day. It's going to probably take the longest amount of time. That's going to be how you identify your days. And it's something that happens on a consistent enough basis that you can say, yes, once a week, I have a day where this happens. 2 times a week, I have a day anyway, etc. Phases, these are the kind of periods of time where you've got one goal in mind that generally lead into the next phase of your day, the next goal of your day. And then your necessary events are things that must happen every single day that you can anchor your day around. Downstream of those 3, list everything that happens in each phase, identify your micro phases, and then see where you're wasting your time so that you can double up. I seriously cannot express how useful this method is to identify where you're wasting your time and identify where you can actually get your time back and learn and be productive. If you do this is a Josh Sawyer guarantee, you will see drastic improvement. Now guys, if you watched all the way to the end of the video, I'm looking for 2, 3, 4 people who are interested in getting coached, mentored by myself. I've got no proof I can do anything just yet, and that's all I'm looking for. I'll do it for free. Just send me a DM on Instagram, comment on this video, say you would be interested, and I'll hop on a call with you and we'll run through how I might be able to help. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you next time.